I'm very much fortunate that this is my third session for this platform. Like every year, thankfully, I get one opportunities to speak. So I'm very much, happy with this opportunity and going to speak about a little bit about the Amplify student engagement. So what are my experiences regarding engagement in classroom? I will share my experiences. I'm not, I mean, I can't say that I'm very much expert or I'm very, the prompt, the educationist, but this is just my experiences last, a couple of years I have been teaching, and it's almost 8 years I have been in the schooling and taught different curriculums, starting from CBSE in India, then went to IGCSE, and now I'm taking IGCSE and IPDP both. Yeah, so we'll not waste will not take your much time, and we'll go very quickly about the, what is, student engagement refer here and why it is important. So we will discuss 2 3 points here, like what is true student engagement, how it look like, and how we feel like in the classroom. What are the categories of student engagement? So categories are so many categories, but we will quickly see some important which may be more effective and easy to implement in the classroom. And how do we incorporate different categories of student engagement strategies into my classroom? So some of the ways how we can incorporate them. Okay, so what is student engagement here? So in student engagement, we refer like independent motivation to learn, where the students are completely independent. It's not, they are not bound with some of the, the fixed system or the fixed curriculum, I can say. So they are independent, but they just should know, like we are as a teacher, like that's why we are not using as teacher anymore. We call ourselves as the facilitator. So we are facilitating, we are helping them, we are supporting them at every situation of them. Persistence to work through challenges, yes, of course, and engaged in constructing their own understanding of knowledge by thinking deeply and making connections to prior information and real world applications. So, I mean, what they are learning, they should know why they are learning and what is happening around them, how they can, the incorporate their understanding into those applications, those real life situations. Okay, so the very first important point is here, student engagement. Let's see, less of a focus on teaching the content and more of focus on what student will be doing to learn and understand the content. So basically, as I mean, I have recently I have gone through one of the article published by one of the UK magazine. So they have mentioned there as well that, I mean, nowadays students are hardly able to listen a teacher continuously for 15 minutes, not more than that. Generally, the standard time of a class is, varies between 35 minutes to 45 minutes. But if even though it is 35 minutes or 45 minutes, it's really impossible to continuously keep speaking in front of the students and keep, because they don't want to listen the teacher continuously for that, I mean 40 minutes or 45 minutes. So basically, as a teacher, what we need to plan is that we speak less, but plan the more and more activities for them so that they are engaged in their learning, right? I mean, we cannot get some completely stand in front of them and just keep giving the lectures to them, that or even the information, because I mean informations are not like any kind of secret. It's very easy access nowadays. Whatever the information they want, they can easily access from using the internet, right? So we are not, but we as a teacher need to just guide them. We need to plan them that what actually or exactly they have to learn and where they have to focus. So that's why this is very important point here, that less of a focus on teaching the content, but more of a focus on what student will be doing throughout the classroom time. Student engagement relationship. So here I have just taken from one of the article that was written by or given by Drew Perkins, that how they are related to each other. So student, teacher, and content. So what is the relationship between them? So we will see that relationship between the teacher and the student. This is important here, that what kind of bond we are making. If we are always trying to show that that we are the teacher, there are some limitations for the students, then they will be always keep hesitating to put their views, or they will be always hesitating to come to you for discussing their even some personal things as well, which is also important. Yeah, of course, I won't deny that we should not have any limitations or boundaries. We should have, but what extent, this is what teacher have to think. So up to what extent the students can come up for the can approach for the help and support. Really, what is the relevance between, I mean, the you can see the student and the content. So what relevant content is required for the student is very important for the teacher to decide and give them the the right the guideline, or show them the right path. Expertise, and the teacher is like, yeah, how they are experts. So this is here, the teacher's expertise matters for the content. So that's why we always say that, yeah, teachers should, of course, the teachers should have the knowledge and deep understanding about the content, what the content teacher is going to teach. So of course, this is because students are well, they can ask any kind of question to the teacher, so we should be able to answer to them. It's not like okay 100%, but at least we, and or that's what, like, again, relationship would come first. So somehow if we are not able to, then the students know that how we will help them, how we will collect the information and provide them, and what correct information will be there which should be provided to the learners. And then if this is like meaningful engagement. Uh, Promoting the engagement categories for the strategies. So what are few strategies I have taken here? Let's say higher order thinking skills. We need to develop them. So we will be keep thinking one by one, all of them. Variety and novelty. What variation should be there? Collaboration, very important. The term here, collaboration, are very important. The method we can say. So collaboration, how do students collaborate to the students, and how do they collaborate with the other subjects as well? Choice, they should be given the choice of learning, but again, teacher has to decide what choice is effective for them, or we can give them as for the learning. Relevance, what is relevant for them, what is not relevant for them. Project based learning, nowadays everybody talk about project based learning. So what is project based learning? I mean, we can have a different session on this project based learning, or you must be knowing about this, that what is project based learning. Or if not, I mean, we have lots of examples around us. I will be also discussing a little bit. So this has been taken from, adapted from the Olantuji, Sockwell and Millen 2009 article. Okay, so when we talk about higher order thinking skills, I mean, what, it's not nothing new, but yeah, we all go through, and we all have, whenever we start teaching, so we come to know about these all the things, and we try to implement in our teaching, and this is what the part of our teaching. So what is that? Students need to be engaged in challenging activities. Like, engaging is not always that keep having fun. Yeah, of course, I mean, we need to create such kind of atmosphere, but at the same time, they are like, the things are challenging for them, so that they are also getting confident that yes, I mean, whatever they are doing, even though it is having, they are having fun, they are having the activities in the classroom, but the things are like, they should be little bit challenging, so that they can keep learning about the things. Not low level assignments. See, I mean, already it is mentioned, so not low level assignments. Questions, discussions and assignments need to include higher level tasks. So I mean, there are some hierarchy, like I'm going to take the new point that is called Bloom's revised taxonomy, so that whenever we keep Bloom's taxonomy in front, or we incorporate, or we use that whenever we are planning our lesson, importantly. So we always keep, the plan, our lesson, keeping the Bloom's taxonomy in mind, that how we will start the things and how we will sum up the things. And Webb's depth of knowledge chart as well. I mean, there is one and a completely different thing, that is Webb. It's somewhat, they have given some terminology, that the 4 categories in the Webb's depth of knowledge chart. So we'll show you, but we will have to discuss this separately. Uh, so 3 points we have, I mean, the especially is Bloom's taxonomy, we will be discussing a little bit here, so that we can get more clear about the higher order thinking skills. Yeah. So here it is Bloom's revised taxonomy, revised because there is some, the changes in the terminology. That's why it is called revised. So we start from remembering, that means what knowledge they have, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and finally it is creating. So this is like how we start from remembering, and how we are ending up with the creating the thing. So that means the whole process, or from whatever the topic we are going to teach. So in this, after the complete topic, how they can create their own problems and the solutions. So I'm discussing one by one a little bit here. That means remember, so recognize, recall, like what the knowledge they have or what they have learned in their previous classes. So this is, I mean, recall their knowledge. Understand, interpret, classify, compare, explain, and interfere. So infer. That means, so I mean, whenever we are like, once they know some of the knowledge they already have or they have learned in the previous, the lessons or the classes, then now what new topic is being taught is how they are understanding. That means how they can explain. So this depends on the teacher, how they can compare their learning or the new learning. Apply, where they can apply, how they can apply, or that means whatever they've learned. So how, what the plan is, let's say mathematics if I'm talking about, so where that learning they can implement or apply what is happening around to them, or in in today's world, what is happening around them, in their place, classroom, school, or outside the classroom, doesn't matter, but where they can apply. So they should be given this guidance and this understanding that, okay, I'm teaching this algebra to you now, this is the use of this algebra, like you are going to the market, so how you can apply this understanding. So they should be aware, they should be able to implement that knowledge. Summarize, and then comes the analyze. So differentiate, organize, and attribute. These are few terminology we have taken. I have taken here. Differentiate, how they can differentiate their understanding, and so analyze, how they can analyze the situation. Like, so this only can possible when they are able to apply, they are able to understand. Then we will come to the analyze. Evaluate. That means this is a little the important part here. That means check, critique. So how a teacher is evaluating their understanding and knowledge, and how they themselves is evaluating their knowledge and understanding, that how much they have learned. And then create, so how they can create their own things, like they can generate their own ideas, they can plan their own things, and what the new things they can produce, what they have learned. So after the learning, what new things. So it can be any question what they can produce. It can be some they, after the analyzing, they can produce a new idea, that okay, we must have this, like in IB we have some a word called TOK, that means theory of knowledge. So that's why IB has included this TOK. That means even though the answer is in front of them, but they have to be more critical thinking. They have to develop more critical thinking, that whatever is given, why, how, why like this only. I mean, these kind of questions are there. If it is so, how it is so, and why it is so, why it cannot be something else. So how they can create their own ideas. And this is the web's depth of knowledge. I mean, we have some 4 levels, as I mentioned that time. So, I mean, if we can go separately, like there are some lots of terminology given. We can discuss or we can see later. That means what is the web's depth of knowledge. And but this is very much effective and important, like level 1. So level 1, they are saying recall, like in the Bloom's taxonomy, we have discussed a little bit. Level 2, so concept. Level 3, strategic thinking. And level 4, extended thinking. So I mean, they have sum up in 4 level, and there we have taken different levels of the plans, right? Another come thing is, so this is how, see, like the topic is engagement. So but engagement is how this is possible. So we need to make the the solid plan, that how the students can be engaged. So it's not just okay, I'm going into the classroom and I saw the class, and all of a sudden I just started asking them that okay, start doing this or start doing that. We need to the keep a perfect plan for them, otherwise the class will be completely messed. Variety and novelty. So what is this? Another, human beings crave variety and novelty. That means students get bored quickly, as I mentioned in the beginning, that not more than 15 minutes. They don't want to listen the teacher more than 15 minutes. So what should be planned for them? So students get bored quickly if instruction is repetitive and low level. Because the first thing is, whenever we plan, we need to understand the class standard, the students standard, their thinking level, everything we need to. It's not like always we need to look into the brilliant students or the smart students. We need to think about the the moderate learners as well. So but we need to keep this in mind, that something should not be repetitive or everything is very low. Every time if we will be keep teaching basics, then it will be again a problem for the learners who already know that. So how then we are going to decide? So this is called, I would say that this is the differentiated, teaching and learning. So how we differentiate our teaching for the learner, so that all kind of learner can be, learn that thing, can be engaged in that classroom. uh, as students usually rise to challenge to do things in a new way, or learn new interesting information. So how we can incorporate these things? Need to constantly work to find new ways to repeat. I mean, one kind of methodology is not always going to work, so we need to keep thinking the new ideas, keep thinking the new methodologies, what can be done if something is being happening repetitive. Like, let's say if I say, if I'm incorporating the audio visual classroom in the classroom, and as we know that audio visual is quite effective, but every time if we are doing the same thing, then students will start feeling bored, that, oh, again we are going to watch some video or something like. So then what can be done? So it's not always we need to just incorporate the audio visual classroom, of course, but at the same time, some physical activities also can be a plan for them, where they are engaged the physically as well. So maybe not within the classroom, because classroom doesn't mean just the four walls. Classroom, I mean, it can be out of out of the four walls as well. So we can take them, some sort of the field visit. We can take them to the ground and plan some activities where they can engage. So this is what, like, engagement we I mean, I always do into my teaching. So not always being just taught in the classroom only within the four walls. Yeah. Collaboration. What I mean, the important thing is their collaboration. So how they are going to collaborate with each other. So encouraging students to reach out to each other to solve problems. So I mean, I always say that means that students are the best teachers for that. So if we are some sometimes we are giving responsibilities to them to explain to the others. So even that's why we always call, like, form the groups, make them sit in the group. So this comes in the category of class management. Of course, this is completely a different I mean, the uh, uh, different the topic. So I can discuss it later, or maybe or you might have already discussed somewhere. So that comes in that category. But yeah, this is the use of, I mean, those things. I just want to tell that yeah, what is the use of class management? This is the use of class management. So here collaboration means like how they are collaborating, how they are learning from each other. So when they are learning to each other, they learn more rather when the teacher is teaching to them. So we need to give this opportunity to the learners, so that it's not only they have to listen the teacher, they have to listen their friends as well. And of course, they get the opportunity to meet each kind of the learner. So we need to plan this way, that every time they are not sitting in the same group and talking with the same group of students. We need to keep changing their groups, but at the same time, we have to keep this also in the mind, that where the learner, or in which group the learner feel more comfortable, right? But we have to just motivate them that, yeah, what will happen if you will learn from the another, from the different group of the learners. So they get this kind of the opportunity. It leads to the deeper learning and understanding. Teacher must be willing to give power to students to lead discussion, make choices. Yeah. So teachers need to directly teach and model how to collaborate and have product group discussion. So the learner doesn't know most of the time. So this is, we as a teacher need to plan and motivate them, that what are the benefits of that, and how they can collaborate with the others, maybe within the classroom, outside the classroom. And nowadays technology is so technology has given so many opportunities that they can keep connected after the classroom as well. Not only the students to student, but student to the teacher as well. Important to focus on the process, not the right answer. So we don't have to, like, maybe that the whole group is giving the wrong answer. No, completely fine. That doesn't matter if they are giving the wrong answer, because to make it correct, the teacher is already there. So they can, of course, then. But the important thing is that they are collaborating, they are discussing, they are sharing the ideas to each other. Sometimes it can be wrong, so so it's okay, no problem, but at least they are sharing the ideas. They are not only, one student may have one or two ideas, but four students or five students sitting together means they are sharing, everybody is sharing two to three ideas, or one idea even. So even though if I'm taking one idea from each student, that means five ideas within the group, or four ideas within the group. So how, I mean, the learning happening there. In the last point, I have, the mention make choices. So here, what kind of choices it is I was talking about. So students are motivated when given a choice in their education. Let's say assignments, assessments, etc. So I mean, it's not we have fixed kind of assessment that okay, summative assessment always there, or formative means I mean the writing assessment always there. We need to keep changing that. So what kind of assessment? Sometimes, yeah, of course, like for the final overview, we go for the summative assessment. But here formative assessment plays a vital role in their learning, right? I mean, summative assessment, we go for the final assessment or exam, I should say. But formative is for topic wise, chapter wise. So it's like that's what we say assessment for learning. So whatever is being happened, what activities can be included, what kind of assessment we can incorporate to them. It can be like peer assessment, it can be just screen assessment, I should say. Screen assessment mean to say that some assessments we are showing, I mean some questions we are showing on the screen and asking to them. Or there are so many applications nowadays like Kahoot and quizzes. So many applications are there. So and they are very much interesting, the engaging for them. So that can be done. Students build self-esteem and sense of mastery through making choices and experiencing the consequences of their choices. So yeah, this is very important. Why choices is important? So that they also should know that if they are making some wrong choices, then what can be the consequences for them. So this is how they learn, because nobody's perfect here, even though we are not. We also may first go for the choices, and then we also make mistakes. So this is what we have to develop there. We
Mr.
100%.
Imtiyaz,
Yes, ma'am.
sorry to interrupt you, sir. We have some questions lined up. If
Yes,
you
yes,
would
sure.
like to answer them.
Yeah, no issue.
Are you ready? Should I read out the questions to you?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So, you can stop sharing your PPT and expand your camera screen, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. So the first question is, how do you ask effective questions in the classroom?
Yeah, so the effective question, that means, as I mentioned, that I mean, how it is, related or relevant. Like I was talking about the relevance. So, what question can be relevant? Effective means I would say here relevance. So, what question is relevance in the classroom? What I'm going to teach is. It cannot be like directly I will, the incorporate question, but yeah, it can be some situations I would show them on the screen that this is the situation here. Now give the opportunity to the learner to discuss. So this is how the inquiry, we develop in the learner. So I mean, I should say, I mean, we call it as the inquiry based teaching. So we need to foster the question, but it should not be direct question. It can be some creative, some, as I mentioned, that we can show some situation. We can give them some, some maybe they that application based, like day-to-day life, associated to day-to-day life, how they can do. So this is how I ask. I cannot just directly ask, okay, what is 2 plus 2, right? I mean,
Yes,
that doesn't make
you
much
keep the
creativity.
students guessing. So what, sir?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, possible that nobody would be able to answer that, even though they are getting the opportunity to discuss. But it's okay. That getting the right answer is not the the approach. The approach is that they are discussing, they are giving their thoughts, and they are bringing lots of ideas. This is the approach always.
Right. So what is challenging about the current learning model that you would like to see improved, sir?
Current learning model means, as I was mentioning, that it's getting difficult now. That means, like, of course, suppose I am also teaching from almost 8 to 9 years. So what I used to teach that time and what I'm teaching is now, there is a huge difference. Like earlier, the generation gap, of course, there, but and this generation is like students are want to be more and more flexible, and the I should say independent. They don't want to bound in such some kind of the rules and the policies or some kind of fixed things. They don't want to be there. Every time they need some freedom, every time they need the independent thing. So but see, as this is what, like, as a facilitator, I cannot I mean bound them in some fixed rules, like we say school policies. Yeah, of course we have the school policies, but many a time you will find that the policies are not working. So this is sometimes very challenging for the teacher as well, that the management needs to change the policies very frequently. But that's not because they want, that's because this is a need of the our need of the learner. So I mean, it's very, I mean, nowadays nothing, it's very much, uh, I should say that things are happening so frequently that nothing is fixed. Every time we need to keep changing our plan, even though whenever a teacher is planning, like I'm planning for my lesson, but I'm sure that this plan is not completely going to work. So I also need to make changes. Like that's
Right.
why most of the time, what is I'm doing, I'm not writing in the, I mean, the printing or getting the print or something. I keep always the soft copy so that I keep changing what the require. I mean, what is the need. Once the class is over, once the topic is over, then only I can finalize. Yeah, this is my lesson plan.
Right. So, how do you test student engagement in the classroom?
Yeah, so I mean, if when you talk about the how do I test, I mean the in class. So see, it is like depends on like what my objective is. So if my objective is, let's say there are some, I mean, I should say that most of the learners has learned something throughout this topic being taught. This is how. And another time is, I mean, I forgot to mention one thing, that listening the students, or student voice here. So these two terms are very important here, student voice. I mean, I need to take care about this thing, that none of the learner is there who is not able to approach the teacher, or who is not happy in the classroom, and when they can be happy, when they are getting the opportunity. So I would say that, see, this is my parameter, that, and my parameter is not like all everybody is getting 100% marks, but my parameter is like there is always a minimum learning outcome, which I always focus, that yeah, this is something minimum learning outcome, so that at least the whole class should be approaching to the minimum learning outcome.
So, what methods do you use to inspire students to be active in learning?
There are the many ways that we can I can inspire, or we can engage them. That's I mean, give, like as I told, that giving the independency, like to make them independent. So
You
I
already
mean,
mentioned about the inquiry based learning, so you must be
yes, yes,
asking them inquiry based
yes.
questions, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So like the problem based, I mean, inquiry based teaching, I have already mentioned, and this is one of the, I mean, the and nowadays I should say that it is always at the top, how the inquiry being fostered, or how the creativity is being fostered in the classroom. So it's really, I mean, very much important. And I'm also, as I told, that I'm also learning, day by day, so that I can be more able to foster these things, or implement these things into my teaching in the classroom.
Right. So you spoke about inquiry-based learning, how you keep them engaged in the classroom. But
Mhm.
what about making the learning fun? How do you make learning fun?
Yeah. So, I mean, when we talk about the inquiry, I think this learning fun comes along with the inquiry, because inquiry is not just one question fostering in that. So, I mean, need to plan the activities where they can, I mean, they can feel, the happy, how they can be, like, it's not only grouping or class management. So as I mentioned, that class management is very much important here. So sometime I'm, giving them, even taking them to the field. Let's say I'm teaching some, let's say mensuration I'm teaching, so where they have to talk about the, the length, perimeter, area, and all. So why they are just doing this, just giving of given shape, better to go outside the classroom, in the ground, or from find the area of the, the boundary wall of the school, let's say, I mean, the perimeter of the school, or such kind of thing. So there they are, mostly engaged, rather to just keep measuring with the scale and the figures.
Right, right. So the last question is, what difference did you find teaching in India and Bangladesh? What is the major difference did you find?
Well, I mean, this question is like, um, I I cannot say that, yeah, there is a huge difference. I mean, I didn't find much difference. The learners are almost same everywhere. The cultural differences can be there. Let's say, I mean, so the cultural and the, some psychological things, I have just found that, I should say that in India the learners are more smarter, I should say. I mean, I'm not criticizing the learners here, but yeah, they are. So it is all about the, the technology, all about the availability of the resources. So sometime, let's say Bangladesh, I'm getting the resources, but I should say the resources which I was using in India 5 years before, now we are, thinking, or getting those resources here. So this is, the not students mentality, but this is all about the availability of the resources, because as soon as the resource we are getting, we are introducing, as early, and as early we are introducing them, the students are getting to know about those things more quickly, and in the early time. So didn't find much difference, but yeah, these kind of things are I have just struggled, and little cultural differences of course there. So maybe the language, or I mean, like I'm this is my, for me it's always been challenging. That means I have to teach in India. It's easy for me, it was easy for me that yeah, sometime I could speak Hindi as well to them so that I can approach them easily. But here, as the student doesn't understand Hindi, so I, how smoothly I can teach in English, I mean, this is challenging for me as well many a time. So I mean, I have found this difference that yeah, this is I'm struggling, this is not their issues, this is, I mean, I should say as a teacher, I had to struggle for that. But thankfully, I was able to, cope up with this situation, and my learners are doing good in this.
That's all, Mr. Imtiyaz. That was the last question. And thanks again for coming on a school reformer too, as we have collaborated with India School News. And we will end the session now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for providing the opportunity.